Well, whoa, that is loud. Welcome.
Welcome.
How are you?
You know what? We've got Roland Bennett here.
Phoenix,
and
Arizona.
We're going to be having some big time fun.
Well, we are driving
the
around we are out in our cars out there. I mean, we aren't, but Phoenix is.
All of Phoenix has right now got their dial on KFNX 1100.
100% of the cars on the road right now have 1100 AM radio on their dial. And what a treat
And
do
the
they
reason
have
why?
today. Well, the reason why is because at 1 o'clock we tune in as Phoenixonians. We tune in for the Carol Blonder Show. We tune in for Networking Arizona at 1 to 2 p.m.
Thank you for that.
5 days a week. We get the Carol Blonder Show, Networking Arizona from 1 to 2, and it's a wonderful thing. I love calling in, and I've called in many times.
Yeah, you know what? One time you called in and just called to wish me a happy birthday. You sang happy birthday to me.
I think I sang happy birthday. I might have actually been on the road too.
I think you were.
I think I was driving somewhere in Denver, because some people that don't know this may not know that you can listen to KFNX anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's what's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And if you go on to Networking Arizona on the Facebook page, on Networking Arizona on Facebook Live or whatever, you can actually listen to that anywhere in the world, and you don't have to be in your car on the radio to hear Carol Blonder, and that's so fun.
And you know
I
what else?
love being here.
Thank you. You know what else?
What else?
They're watching us live doing that. And that's what's really fun.
This is so cool. I really appreciate, I have so much gratitude for you. For those listeners out there going, what is going on here? Who's taking over the show?
Yeah.
Carol's been hijacked. Well, we have been hijacked, and we've been hijacked. Carol has been hijacked by the Masters. And this is Friday at the Masters on KFNX Radio, 1100 AM. This is the only live. There are 2 hours of the entire year where you can get live PGA coverage of the PGA Tour on the radio in Arizona on 1100 AM KFNX on the Carol Blonder Show. And today is one of those 2 days.
Today, and we've done it.
Day.
This is how many times have we done this?
I believe this is our 4th year
Right.
of Friday at the Masters,
Uh-huh.
and we also do opening day of the Phoenix Open.
That is really fun. And the last time you were on, I really learned a lot. And one of the biggest things I've learned is about the cup snake. I love the cup snake.
You know what's so funny?
You sent me a picture.
You know what is so funny? We were watching a show. There was like an arena football, and ESPN did an entire show on the cup snakes at these arena football games.
Well, we have them here, ladies
well,
and gentlemen.
they're shutting them. They're shutting down the cup snakes at the Phoenix Open. They're shutting them down. But anyway,
so the difference between the Phoenix Open and the Masters is what?
well, it's like the difference between night and day.
Exactly.
It's the difference between lightness and darkness. It's the Phoenix Open. And by the way, we didn't get Carol. I forgot to thank you. Thank you for having me on. This is Roland Bennett. I love coming onto the show. It's such an amazing opportunity. I look forward to these 2 hours. There's 120 minutes of my year that I just anticipate. I cannot wait for, and I just build up in my mind. I get so excited for, and then I walk into the 1100 AM radio, KFNX studio. I know that I'm gonna be on the air doing live coverage of the PGA, and I've got a lot of friends that play golf, and they're oh, that's so cool, that sounds so fun. And I'll say, well, come on in and co-host this with me. Let's talk some golf.
That be so
And
much
they get
fun?
they get so nervous. They get so nervous. But
And they don't have to be nervous.
and I know
do they?
that you have done, you have a career of breaking down the nerves of people, getting them out of their
Yeah.
box,
And that's
talking
my
on the
job.
radio, like it is your job, and it's so great. And I feel like I'm the opposite of that. I get so excited to come here and talk about the Masters and talk about the Phoenix Open, and we're gonna talk about the difference, because I think that question right there, for people in Phoenix especially, is one of the greatest questions in golf. What's the difference between the Phoenix Open and the Masters?
And I asked it. Can you
No,
believe that?
that was brilliant. But I'll tell you right now, what an amazing. This is a live Masters coverage show, so we do have to sort of jump into the leaderboard.
What's going on?
And we have to let people know that Justin Rose right now. Do you know that Justin Rose, after his 65 yesterday. Is his 5th time with the day 1 lead at the Masters.
Wow.
He's over 40 years old. He's won the US Open. He's an amazing, accomplished golfer, probably going to be first ballot Hall of Famer. He's had an unbelievable career, but he does not have the elusive green jacket.
Well, you're
from
nothing
Augusta
until
National.
you have that.
Well, and there's many golfers that think that.
I
it's like,
agree.
It's like, oh, you had a great career, but
Yeah,
you didn't win the Masters. Oh, you won 2 U.S. Opens, you won 2 PGA Championships, and a couple of British. You did real great. You won 42 times year out. Great job,
But there's nothing like the Masters.
But do you have a green jacket? You don't have a green.
Hey, there's a
What a
commercial.
bummer! What a bummer! You don't have a green jacket.
There's a commercial on television that right away says, they're saying how they're the greatest, and then it's, no, you're not. You don't have a sign, do you? I don't know what the commercial's about, but it's the same thing. It's like, you don't have a green jacket, do you?
It is the exact same thing. It is the most elusive trophy. It's like the Super Bowl. The Vince Lombardi of football is the green jacket in golf. Like, if you're a golfer, especially a professional golfer, it'd be nice to win this and that and, millions and millions of dollars here and there. But even the guys on the Live Tour, Brandel Chambly doesn't like those guys playing for that dirty Saudi money. But even those guys, all they want is this green jacket. It's amazing. So the difference is that the Augusta National is maybe the most gorgeous, unbelievable, pristine golf course on the face of the earth.
I'm going to tell you what the difference is. You can't go in with your phones.
Well, that's
a big thing.
That's
a big difference right there. You cannot be on your phones. You have to be very quiet. You have to be
100%.
very respectful.
And I'm going to tell you the story of my experience walking into the Masters onto the grounds of Augusta National. When we come back from the break, I'm going to talk about walking myself. But before we go out, Bryson DeChambeau is at 7 under par right now in second place. Justin Rose is holding his wire-to-wire lead at 8 under, and Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler tied at 6 under with Terrell Hatton. McIlroy at 6 under in third place right now is crazy compared to what he did yesterday. We're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. We're also going to give some websites and some numbers and some fun things, but do not turn your dial.
Stay tuned. You're going to be glad you did. This is something that we've done now for the last 4 years. It's a blast. Stay tuned, and while we're talking about all of this, you're going to learn all about the difference between the Masters and all the other golf.
Yeah, and don't even turn your dial right now. Just keep it right where it is at 1100 a.m. We'll be right back.
Okay. I hope we're okay. So, we're live
I'm trying to polish the show up for the online listeners.
So I want you to, I'm not sure if we're over there, but we're still live on Facebook, so you want to keep on going.
We're live on Facebook right now, and so that's great. So do the microphones still work, or is it all in that?
It's all on there right now.
All right, so it doesn't, I don't have to do this when we're live on Facebook. Facebook Nation, what's up?
So tell everybody,
I'm getting a lot of texts right now.
What are they
by
saying?
the way? One text, love the umbrella. So that's good. Thank you very much. If you're just listening to 1100 AM radio online, you can't see the umbrella. So we must have some people that are watching online.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's
Absolutely.
great.
And also, we have a lot of people now that watch online, but I think you should tell everybody out there that can't see it what we're doing in here, because it looks like.
Well, what we're doing in here
Well, I mean,
is
when we're on air, so that they can see it, to hear that we've got it, on air, because they can't know that we do it on air.
well, if you're on tuning in right now to Network Arizona, which all of you are, and I know you're faithful watchers, we are no longer in Phoenix at the studio. We are at the Masters in Augusta, Georgia.
Next time we're gonna bring a putting green and put it on this table.
Well, next time I think if we continue to build what this show is on the trajectory to be, we will be at the Masters.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, we'll be on ESPN, We'll be on Golf
And
Channel.
they're gonna be syndicating the show so that you can
Well,
be
it's-
doing
it's-
the
it's-
commentating of it.
It's gonna be syndicated in multiple languages. You know what's funny is, my dad, and I'm only gonna do this online because it's funny, I'm not gonna do it on the radio but my dad floated me, my dad is Mr. Don't Bring Up, conspiracy theories.
Oh.
You know, like, if Anthony Fauci says to get the shot, you get the shot, there is no conspiracy theory.
Okay.
And we got into this big argument, you know, like when the whole COVID thing happened, about, you know, I'm not buying into your conspiracy theories. I haven't bought into it. I haven't even remotely bought into a conspiracy theory since JFK. You know, did I even remotely follow that? You know, he's 80 years old, so that was like a big thing. I'm like, well, what was the conspiracy? You know?
What did he say?
I'm not
know?
gonna get into
He
that.
didn't
That was
know.
just, you know, whatever. He tells me yesterday, we're doing our picks, he tells me yesterday that he thinks that it is totally bogus that Hideki Matsuyama, who's the Japanese golfer who's won the Masters like 3 years ago, he thinks that,
That's crazy.
I'll tell you that later.
Okay.
You know, that is gonna be a special story for only for the online Facebook people. And
Wait.
if you guys want the behind the scenes, if you're on 1100 AM radio right now and you're like, what were they just talking about? Because the way they came back in and you guys are just dialing in, you're driving down the
What's going
the
on?
101 or the 10 or the 202, and you're like, it almost felt like they were talking about something. We were talking about something over the break, and it was a really good story. But Carol Blonder, and I don't know if you know this, and I've hijacked her show, thank you again, I'm just full of gratitude, I tell you
You're
that
so
all the
welcome.
time.
I love having you.
There's 120 minutes of the year that I just can exude my gratitude for allowing you to allow me to come in here and take over your show and do live coverage of the PGA Tour, especially the
It's
Masters.
my pleasure, because you're the best.
And you know what's funny is that I say the PGA Tour, but the Masters is actually not owned by the PGA Tour. The Masters is an independent tournament, which is why you get a lot of the guys on the Live Tour that are invited to play, because it doesn't matter PGA or not, there's guys from all over the world. The Masters was created to be the single greatest international golf championship. They wanted the best players in the entire world to come into Augusta National and play on the most pristine,
It's gorgeous.
well taken care of, unbelievable sanctuary of the world of golf. They wanted the best players in all the world, no matter what, to come in and play, and they've held fast on that. So when the PGA has banned the players that have gone to the Live Tour, like the Bryson DeChambeaus and the Terrell Hattons and the Dustin Johnson and the John Rahms and the Oosthuizens, well, if you're still able to earn an automatic invitation to the Masters or the USGA, so the Phoenix Open, or not Phoenix Open, excuse me, the US Open is not owned by the PGA. So the Live guys can still get into the US Open, they can still get into the British Open, they can still get into the PGA Championship, and they can still get into the Masters. So that was kind of one of the things that these professional golfers were leaving the PGA Tour to go to play on the Live, because they knew that they're already the best. They've already locked in a few years of making it into, quote unquote, the majors.
But they don't have a green jacket.
Well, some of them do.
Some of them do.
Well, John Rahm.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter, John Rahm goes to the LIV or not. John Rahm won the Masters.
Do they all have an umbrella?
Well, they do when it's raining, and
I why do I say that? Because
if you're online right now, you can see that Carol's holding an umbrella, because it's in the studio right now. It's raining love.
aw, isn't that cool? It is.
It's a lovely experience to be in here, but
more
I
so than
think-
anything, it's because of what you're doing and what you love. You love commentating. You love golf. You also, I believe, still teach people, the children, for sure.
So actually, you know, it's funny you say that, because I have been putting a lot of things together, and currently right now in my golf world, and again, if you're on live and you can get this is the QR code. If you're watching on Facebook Live, and if you're listening on the radio, when you get home, Don't do it now while you're driving. We don't need any more accidents, holding up traffic. But when you get home, just Google Networking Arizona. Not that hard to remember. You could go into Facebook, look at Networking Arizona. You can get this whole show and watch this whole show, and then you can get the QR code. And this is the QR code for, my business of what I do to, make money, which is mortgages in 38 states.
you've
I
been
just got
doing that-
Oklahoma, by the way.
You did, oh my goodness.
I've been doing it
You're growing.
22 years.
22 years.
And
you love it, you love numbers.
well,
You're
yeah,
all about that.
I'm a numbers guy. I like to combine creativity in finance with the numbers to make sure that we take people that are oftentimes being told, well, you can't get that kind of mortgage because of XYZ.
So complicated
And then,
situations.
yeah, but I do the easy stuff too, like, let's be honest, right? But I like to take the complicated stuff, I like to be creative with that. But then also, once we figure out what the best path is for you, I know how to do it the cheapest and the fastest. Because let's be honest, when
That's
you're
what
buying a
everybody-
house or you're refinancing a house, let's not sugarcoat it. Every single person wants the exact same thing. They want the lowest rate, the lowest fees, the least amount of BS, the least amount of paperwork. They want the deal done. They don't want any problems. And they just want to have it cheap and fast and quick and easy. And that's
done.
it.
That's it, you're
And 22 years in the business, I figured out how to
one
do it
of the
that way.
best.
I know how
Seriously.
to do those things for those people, and I do it in 38 states. That's what I do for money. What I do for passion and fun outside of my passion of my family and my church
you were
and my
gonna say that.
volunteering and all that stuff. I have a strong passion for golf. I'm the director of golf operations at Cicero Prep Academy, and I'm also the head varsity golf coach currently. Our current season is going, our varsity golf season. And we've got about, what is it? We've got 1 month left. We've got state finals coming up in Arizona in the AIA, D3, so that's very exciting. And I think that at Cicero Prep Academy, where I coach, I also coach middle school in the fall, but varsity in the spring. And this year, we are on track to have Cicero bring, for the first time ever in their young school life, a varsity golf team that will qualify for the state finals in varsity golf in
Oh, that must
AIA
be so
D3.
exciting for
It is so
everybody.
exciting.
That's cool.
It's so exciting for the players. But also, I am kicking around the idea and toying around with the idea of starting my own youth golf instruction academy,
Okay,
where I will be
I
bringing
thought you were gonna say
the
podcast.
passion of the game. Well, I feel like my podcast is 2 hours a year in your show, and maybe we go forward with a
No,
podcast.
I like it here.
But I'm toying around. I'm toying around with starting the youth golf academy, and it's not just the fundamentals of golf, but it's selling the idea of, well, not selling. I'm gonna. It's selling. It's selling the kids on what golf is and how great golf is.
I like educating.
I like educating, but some people need to be sold, right? They need to be convinced.
Okay.
Like when you go in to buy that car, sometimes you need somebody just to sell you on those leather seats.
Yeah.
And when you walk out of there, you're like, man, I'm glad he sold me on these seats because I would have had those cloth ones and they would have sucked, Now I have these great leather seats. Sometimes people appreciate being sold. Maybe it's just a salesman that likes to be sold,
yeah.
but that's what they say. But what I want to do is inspire. Let's use that
I
instead
like
of
that.
that.
I like that. I
Right.
like that.
I want to inspire kids to love the game, because I truly believe in the game of golf, if you can fall in love with it and can understand it, it is the hardest sport on the planet to play. But it is also the most rewarding. And also, in my opinion, golf is the most relatable sport to life. And it's because if you want to excel in the game of golf, you have to think like my late buddy Sonny Rock, who we dedicated our last show to.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think like Sonny Rock did, and that is to live in the moment in the present every single second of the moment that you have. And if you can do that on the golf course, and that's the hardest thing, is it's not dwelling on past mistakes. It's not having resentment and remorse of bad times that have happened in the past that will end up ultimately bleeding into your ability to make decisions for the future.
Mhm.
And it's also at the same time not dwelling on the stresses of the future, of what you need to do and all these things that I have to do and have to be, and oh my gosh, my finances this and finances that, and these bills are coming and those bills are coming, and what are we gonna do when this happens, and now we have to do this. And so many people have this downward spiral of stress and daily depression of what's gonna happen in the future. And when that happens, that takes also away of our ability to perform in the present.
Absolutely.
Because it takes us out of the present. And if you wanna, I had a golfer on my varsity golf team last week playing at Orange Tree, hits 3 birdies in the first 6 holes. He's never hit, he's a junior, or sophomore. He's never hit 3 birdies in the 6 holes.
Oh.
Like, he's on his way to the best 9 holes of his life. He's got 3 birdies in 6 holes. And I don't know if you watch professional golf, but that's pretty good on a professional level.
Yeah.
And what happens? He looks at that, he realized that, and then he thinks, all I have to do for the next 3 holes is hit some pars, and I'm gonna finish it. He had a couple of bogeys or whatever. I can finish at 1 under. I've never broken par in my life. And the second he starts worrying about the future,
What happened?
he left the present. He left the moment, right? So that's what golf teaches us, is that you have to stay in the moment. That's what Rory McIlroy has been learning this week. He double bogeyed 15, double bogeyed 17 yesterday to go from 4 under par, which was tied for 3rd, to drop to 27th at even. That is normally detrimental mentally to a golfer,
Oh, gosh.
unless you have the ability to stay in the present, unless you have the ability to not stress about past mistakes.
Right, and you know, a lot of people should look at the way these professionals, how they are, they make it look so easy, they really do, but, you know, they go through a lot to learn how to be able to do that, for sure.
Yeah,
We're gonna go to
100%.
break. You hear that?
We're gonna, the second we come back from break, we're gonna jump right into our leaderboard. We're gonna go down the top 10 of the Masters leaderboard when we come back. We're gonna tell some Masters stories. I'm gonna share with you my own personal Masters story from a couple of years ago. So do not go anywhere. Keep it right there on 1100 AM.